You are now live. Wow.
This it says the stream is live.
The stream is live. Well, it is for me. You're going to be a bit sketchy, aren't you? In and out.
Oh,
But
that's my normal.
that's the normal. Yeah. Right. Let's do a few settings if I can. So if you're watching, people, bear with. Mm. So if you're watching, people. Oh, hello. Let's turn the volume down on that. Look at this. Two phone setup.
I was just thinking to myself. I was thinking, I put my other phone. I've got a. Oh, it's on already. Oh, it won't work actually. There's no VPN connected to that.
That's weird. Yeah, strange. Very strange. Very strange. As always. Always. Okay. So. Right. Oh, how's your day been, mate?
The day has been very easy actually. We got the bus up from St. Petersburg up to here because as yet, due to technicalities with driving licenses, it's not done yet. So on the bus up from St. Petersburg, it's a nice trip actually. It's very cheap. We arrived here and then walked down to our land, which is only it's about a kilometre from the bus stop. So it was a nice little walk in the sunshine. Other than that, we've been sort of.
Unfortunately, walk for me sounds like very much like work, and especially with your accent, it just makes me shiver a bit. Oh, can't be doing all that. Can't be doing all that.
Yeah, but after you've sat on a bus for 5 hours, it's kind of stretching the legs a bit, isn't
it? Right, let's dive in. Welcome. Tonight's live stream, I'm joined by Glyn. Glyn, fair to say, I suppose, let's do it. The usual title that people use is an expat. Personally, I hate the term. But Glyn is now a Russian citizen and has been living in Russia for a number of years. Has got a very good channel called, I think, Expat Info, but his new channel, which is the one we're talking about tonight, is A Home in Mother Russia. Is that right?
That's correct. Home in Mother Russia, yes.
Perfect. Right, so let's kick off with 5 minutes of who you are, mate. Give us a quick potted history of who you are, what you're doing.
Who am I? What am I doing? I am from the north of England, which is in Sheffield, in actual fact. I'm a northern git. I was joined the military from. I actually worked on construction industry for a short while, about 5 years before I went into the military. At that time, there was a bad situation in England. It was the Thatcher years. There was very little work about, and eventually I went into the army, and I stayed there 17 years. And ended up staying in Northern Ireland. I served there for 12 years, wow. And after that, I started a little business. I started an internet cafe for a little while. That was absolutely useless and almost bankrupt. I closed it down, and I went as a contractor to first to Iraq, and then I went to Afghanistan for 2 years. From there, we used the money to buy land here. And after we bought the land here, we had already met my wife, and I was basically traveling between Afghanistan and Russia for a while. And then a friend of mine. It's actually quicker to get to from Afghanistan to Russia than it is to get to the UK from Afghanistan. It's like, but cut a long story short, that something happened and I didn't want to go back to Afghanistan. Somebody was severely injured, and it turned me off of it. And my wife said no more, and quit it. So I ended up back in England, and I ended up driving lorries for a long time. And while I was driving lorries, I was coming back here to Russia every 3 months. So I was doing 3 months here, 3 months England, 3 months here. And I was driving from UK to Russia and back again across Europe, which is a great thing to do. It was at the time. Now it's a
I've
bit
done it
difficult.
many times myself.
Yeah, absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved that that traveling across Europe. It really was no borders. It was I was blah blah. In fact,
drove down to Sicily once in a lorry, and that was epic. Loved it.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so once after some years, I'd had enough, and we decided to make for me to make the permanent move here. And at that point, I went for the EVP, which is the temporary residency, and then on to the Vidnojistvo, which is the old the permanent residency, and then eventually went to apply for citizenship and did that.
Wow!
The whole process took about 3 years.
How long have you been in Russia then? As in permanently?
Permanently, if this would be coming up to 7 years now.
Okay.
In total, coming and going every 3 months was about 15 years.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So a lot of commuting. You've covered some miles.
Yeah. Well, we actually built the house, the first house here. While I was, so I would go back to England for 3 months and then come back here, do a bit more, then go back to England, earn some more money, come back here, do it, and that's the way
that's commitment.
So
that is commitment.
Well, when I came here, when I landed here permanently, it worked out that we had a house already built, and which meant no mortgage, nothing like that, no credit or anything. So it was.
I'm just going to ask a question that I've seen because it's relevant to what we're saying at the moment. So Chrisman has asked, how long did it take you to get Russian citizenship? So from start to finish, what's the time frame?
3 years.
Okay.
In a word.
Okay, but that was quick.
I did it back to back. I didn't. I did the temporary residency straight away. Did the temporary residence. As soon as that was in, I applied for my Vidnojistvo, the permanent residency.
Okay.
And as soon as that was in, I applied for citizenship. I didn't wait at all. So it was one after the other, bang, bang, bang.
Okay.
And the reason for that, the reason I was able to do that is because I was married to a Russian citizen for more than 3 years.
Changed a bit now.
Now it's 5 years, yeah. But at the time it was 3 years, but with my commuting, I'd already passed that 3 year mark, so there was no hold. I had to do. I did it basically. I got there's a number of documents here. One of them particularly being your criminal record, your criminal background check.
Yeah.
Which is a real pain in the rear. It really give me nightmares. They kept sending it. I kept filling it out, and they kept sending it back, and I'd missed off a blooming. Not a parking ticket, a speeding fine. I hadn't written that. I can't remember where it was or when it was, and they kept sending it back and saying it's not. You've missed something out. Like, what have I missed out?
Yeah.
They don't tell you what you've missed, but you like. So anyway, we did the whole thing, and here I am.
Here you are.
3 years.
Right, tell me about your channel. Tell me about the channel name. Why A Home in Mother Russia? As opposed to English, English or Brit builds house in Russia or house building in Russia. Do you know what I mean? Something a bit more catchy now. The clickbait kind of title. Do you know what I mean? Why have you named your channel that?
Do you want the real answer or do you want the BS answer?
Give us the real one. Go on. Let's be daring tonight.
I typed it into AI and it came up with that.
Brilliant. Well, there you go. The use of AI actually works. Genius.
What a deep seek came up with it.
Brilliant. Why did you pick your particular region? Why did you move there? What was the reason? Because most people head to Moscow. It's the standard thing. I seem to be a bit of an outliner down here. The vast majority of YouTubers are Moscow region. So yeah, why have you picked the region that you're in?
Well, St. Petersburg at first was because where my wife was from, and we had we've still got a forest plot down there, but we found that the region is changing somewhat. Where we had a nice quiet forest plot, it's becoming what would you call it? It's becoming, I don't know the English word for it, I've forgotten. Houseified. There's urbanized. It's becoming urbanized.
Houseified. I like that. I prefer houseified.
I can't think of it. It's full of catastrophe pasol. Catastrophe pasol is. It was when we first moved there. There was us, and there was one other person that had a place that wasn't staying there permanently. There was us in the forest alone. It was absolutely peaceful and quiet and beautiful. And now it's slowly filled up. And if you've ever been to one of these settlements, or catastrophe pasol, they call it, you'll see that they look a bit shantytownish, and they're good. They're good. They're good in that there's a community there. But for me, I didn't want to be part. How can I put it? It's just time to move on. There's sometimes you just think.
So, what's the region you're in now? You're not in St. Petersburg, are you?
No, now I'm in Novgorod. It's very close to Veliki Novgorod, which is the big Novgorod, and it's a small place called Staraya Russa, which is a kurort town. Which what's a kurort town? Forgetting me English. Kurort town. Resort town.
Oh, okay.
It's one of the oldest
Moscow, towns. How far is Moscow? Because everybody, geography-wise, knows where Moscow is.
400 kilometers from Moscow and 300 from St. Petersburg, roughly.
Okay, so yeah, you're heading towards St. Petersburg from Moscow. You're somewhere in between.
Somewhere in between, yeah. There. We're right beside. Yeah. If you look on the map, you'll find a big lake called Ilmen, and we're right beside Ilmen. It's almost an inland sea. Very beautiful.
And what's the weather like there? Because I know St. Petersburg is historically famous for having very English weather. Are you sort of escaping that, or are you still sitting in that sort of weather zone?
St. Petersburg is renowned for having what do you call it? Vlažnost. Moisture in there. Humidity. Humidity. It is renowned for having humidity. It's well known. You read anything it tells, and you get 100% humidity there in winter and summer. It's horrible.
Oh no, thanks. It's not for me.
Yeah, no. Up here in Novgorod, we're away from that, and it's actually quite drier climate altogether. And St. Petersburg can get very cold. It can hit in summer. In the winter time, it can be around about -17 a lot of the time. And it can hit as low as we've had as low as -38 down there. So very cold. Up here, there's not the extremes of temperature. It's a bit less warm and a bit less cold.
And is that the reason you think? I mean, us Brits, we always talk about weather, and I'm always asked about weather. Because most people, as I say, snow bears, gangsters, vodka, horse and cart, but it's all about the snow, isn't it, Russia? There's nothing else here. So when people look at my channel, they're sort of a bit confused, and when I say I've got the same climate as the south of France, it kind of fries their brain a little bit. So is that the reason you moved away from St. Petersburg, just to get out of the humidity and settle where you are now?
Well, it's a combination of reasons. The humidity, the weather is a big player for me because I'm getting older now, and I find I've got trouble with my hips and joints, and the humidity plays havoc with me. Yeah. And as soon as I come up here, if I'm up here about a month, suddenly all these problems go away. And also up here, this being a kurort town, a kurort,
resort town.
Forgotten again. Resort town.
Resort.
Yeah, I'm forgetting English. The up here there is natural mineral water, spring water, and it's up within the system. It's fed directly into the central water system, so you got mineral water, and it really does affect your joints, and it's well renowned. Yeah. There's a big place here for recovery for people.
Yeah,
it's funny because of that water.
It's similar here. We're on mineral water. There's natural springs. And places where people regularly go to fill up water bottles just to drink, pure mineral water. And we're
there's one not
straight out the ground.
Yeah, there's one not too far from me, and there's a queue of people getting bottles of water from it.
Yeah.
You know, it's marvelous. I don't know in England, when I was in England, where you could have got such a thing. You know, it's just
No, not unless you probably go up
or
the
the
Scottish Highlands somewhere, but
or the or the privatised, and you've got to pay for them.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Right, so the purpose of your new channel is pretty much to document, from what I can see, building a house. And I know nothing about the construction industry other than what I've picked up from friends over the years, and a little bit of knowledge, which we all know is a dangerous thing. But what I've seen on your channel, I've got to say, and without trying to blow smoke up your ass, it really looks like you know what you're doing. And certainly the videos you put out are very, very, very concise, and very detailed. And I come from an industry where attention to detail is absolutely paramount. So I think that's why your channel resonates a little bit with me, because I can see the attention to detail. And what I do like is you don't just show what you're doing, you show the difference between what you're doing and what other people have done as well, so that you can actually see the difference.
Well. In Russia, it's the same as any other country. There's cowboy builders, just as same as anywhere else. And there's also people who, I mean, people forget that the people's wages in Russia are lower than the West, and so when people build houses, they try and cut corners at every opportunity, and they get cheaper materials. What I'm showing you with this is that you can build a decent house on a very low budget,
And
without,
properly.
and you're not going to have a freezing cold house, and that.
Yeah.
I can show you the way that can be done. I've worked in. I do actually pile foundations here in Russia. That's my job. So I understand pile foundations more than anything. The actual building of the houses. I'm not a professional builder, not by any long means. But I worked on I work on pile foundation now. But I also worked on electrical installations within frame housing. So I've got an I've seen, if there's something to be seen, I've seen it. I've seen how it's done.
Yeah.
I mean, I've picked up that what do you call that, upward, the experience.
Yeah.
So I can
One of
show
the things
people.
that you sort of demonstrated very, very, very vividly and graphically, is the difference between you using what I would call a chop saw or a miter saw, and other unscrupulous builders using a chainsaw. Now, on face value, you don't really sort of see a lot of difference. It's a lump of wood and you're chopping it up a bit. But when you when you show the difference in the joints, it's absolutely massive. And you can see that the load is completely different on the joints. You
Finger
can
in that.
see the gaps. Yeah, absolutely. It's that's something that I really have noticed. It kind of opens your eyes a little bit when you see people, framing up with a chainsaw. You don't think anything of it, but like I say, seeing your channel and seeing you showing that, it really was an eye opener.
Mm. It's something you see a lot. You see a group of builders turn up and they pull out the chainsaw, and you think, what are you doing with the chainsaw here? I've said it on the frame is the coldest part of a frame house, and if you've got gaps, you think, oh well, it's got a nice coating of siding, and it's got a nice what do you call it, this membrane around it, to keep it nice. Doesn't matter. The wind will find those joints in the winter. It's guarantee.
Yeah. No, that was something that definitely struck me, I must admit. Chrisman, cheeky. Chrisman have you learned Russian yet? Which was, funnily enough, my next question. So, how do you find the language? And no, you don't need to give me any lessons, Chrisman. That's bloody cheeky. I speak fluent Russian in my head.
How do I find Russian? No, very difficult. I can't tell you that it's an easy language to learn. It's not. I'm very, very lucky in that my wife doesn't speak English, so at home I could only speak Russian, and really I did struggle for a long time, and even now sometimes, although I'm basically fluent, I still struggle sometimes in certain things. It's not the technical words, like I don't know what strapila is, and balky, but little things that catch you sometimes. You think, well, I've never heard that word before, but you'll know when you're progressing, when you can ask somebody, what was that word you just said? what is that when normally if you don't understand anything, the whole sentence, you don't understand any of it, but suddenly that word stands out. What was that word you said? Butovka. You asked me to. Oh, it's that. It's you
It's
start to
that
recognize.
starts. Yeah. So would you
When
say
you
that you've
realize
learned from a vocabulary basis rather than a grammatical basis?
yes,
So kind of how children learn.
yeah, well,
Well, let's face it. By the time kids go to school, they're speaking the language, aren't they? So they're not
yeah,
sitting at home
yeah.
studying language books. They're picking it up from their
I'm
parents and
I
everything
didn't
else.
I didn't start to learn at a young age, and I was 40 something when I started to learn Russian. So it was
Right.
40. It's like it's not an easy language to learn at that age.
No.
So
No. It's tied me in knots many a time, and yeah, I certainly understand it's not an easy language.
I've
What
tried
would you
every
say?
kind of. Sorry,
Yeah,
go on.
go on.
I've forgotten now.
No, fine. What would you say was the hardest thing about moving here?
The hardest thing about moving here.
Yeah.
Uh,
What was the
if you
one
are
thing that you
coming,
thought, oh my God, this is a nightmare? I mean, the language, obviously, but that's always the go-to. Let's park that to one side for a minute. What else did you think, God Almighty, I'm going to struggle with this?
documents,
Okay.
documents, documents, and documents. Documents
In
will
what
always
way?
catch you
Getting
out.
your documents to actually get through the citizenship and all of that, or just general day-to-day documents for getting your electricity connected and that kind of thing? Russian
Uh,
bureaucracy, I think, is famous, isn't it?
no, it was the English documents that got me.
Mm,
They were the
okay.
difficult ones. So for me,
Okay.
I was previously married, so getting to get married here, I needed to get my divorce certificate, and that had to
Yeah.
be then apostilled in England, and then translated and
Yeah.
notarized here, and then get
Yeah.
my passport translated, notarized. It all takes time. So if you're getting married, you need what they call a certificate of no impediment from the UK, which means
Yeah.
you have to go to your local registry office, and then you have to wait. I think it's 3 weeks before you can get that certificate. Once you've got
Okay.
that certificate, you then send it off to get it apostolized.
Yeah.
Once it's
I think we
apostolized,
all
it
know
comes
about the
back.
apostling.
Yeah, the apostling. You get that, and then your document only lasts 3 months. So then you've got to get your visa. You've got to get here. You've then got to apply to get married here. It takes 3 weeks to get married here. You've 2
Right.
months gone in getting your document and yeah, we were
Yeah.
I think an hour away from losing our appointment and not being able to get married
Oh,
at all. And
oh wow.
because on the translation at this end, they spelt my name wrong in 2 different places on the blooming
Oh God.
certificate. So taxi back down to St. Petersburg to the translation centre, get it retranslated, get it reapostilled, and run back to Pushkin to get
Oh
it.
my
Yeah,
God.
you got there.
Would it have been, in hindsight, easier to have got married in the UK?
No,
Okay.
because then it would have been the opposite way around. And you can imagine the Russian bureaucracy in getting an apostle. I can
Well,
imagine that being 3.
to be
At least I
honest, obviously,
understand the system.
yeah. I mean, we married. Me and my wife married in England because, at the time we weren't looking at going to Russia. It wasn't on the radar.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we've actually had to do the opposite of you. We were married in the UK and then had to get everything translated and notarized and apostilled and blah blah blah. So I understand. Yeah, it's a bit of a chore, but I think everything that's
If you,
worth having comes at a bit of a price sometimes.
yeah, I mean, I think the most difficult one for me of all the documents was the police check. They just changed from in England from was it the CBS to the DBS or ABS? I don't know,
Yeah, yeah, it's
whatever
the
it was.
acronym. Yeah, because a lot of people think it's a DBS check, and it's not. If you rock up with a DBS check, you're going to get sent away. I've said this to people many a time.
Well, when I first came here, you could actually get the Scottish one
Yeah,
and come with that, but I didn't know that, of course, at the time. But they changed it all, and you had to get this new one. And I sent the blooming application from, and they sent it back and said I'd missed something off it, and it was a blooming speeding ticket from years ago. I can't even remember. I think it was 3 or 4 times they sent it back to me. I was like, running out of visa time. I can't wait any longer.
Yeah.
Oh.
I suppose now, because there's no connection, getting the police check in the UK, it's this APRO service, which is I've got to say, it's very efficient. And then you send it off as soon as you get it, you send it back off to get it apostled. And then you bring it to Russia and get it translated in Russia, which is what we've done. And it's a lot easier, but it is still a time frame, and that's one of the things I advise to people if they're coming to Russia. What you've got to do is sit down with a pen and paper, because you're on time frame with your police check. How long it takes to get it back, how long it takes to get it apostled, how long all your other documents take. Booking flights, because they're not instant. Sometimes you've got to wait a week or two in advance. Obviously, booking the appointment in the first place. And all of this all requires, it's a bit like baking a cake. It's all requiring certain timings. So you sit down with a pen and paper and just get your timings right on what you do first and when, to give yourself the best chance with the police check.
Yeah, there's one bit of good advice I got from, there was many years ago, there was a forum called, I think it was Moscow Expats or something like that. There was actually the old-fashioned forum, and on there somebody wrote on there, once you've done your police check and you've applied for your temporary residency, don't leave Russia. Whatever you do, apply for your next thing. You don't need to do your police check again, because what people do is they're coming on their temporary residency, or they've got and they want to get the permanent residency. They leave Russia and come back. Oh, you need a new police check.
New police check, yeah.
Yeah, don't leave Russia if you're going to do all that,
Yeah, because that was kind of one of the things, I was, obviously panicking about the 3-month time period, and I was told by somebody, sort of, very clued up at the time, very well in the know, and they said, as long as you don't leave Russia, the official line is it lasts for 3 months. However, if you don't leave Russia, then
don't need a new one.
Yeah, you shouldn't need a new one. Like I say, the official line is yes, you do. 3 months expires, but if you haven't left the country, then you shouldn't need one, and you will probably be all right. So that was good, but we didn't get that close. We were pretty lucky. It went through pretty smoothly. How this is something I get asked a lot. Obviously, being a Brit in Russia, especially under the current situation, how are you treated? How do the Russians treat you?
They hate me.
That's fair enough. I can see why.
They all hate me. Every time I go out to watch the storms coming at me, In reality, it's like any other country in the world. I mean, I've travelled a lot around the world, a lot, and it's the same as any country. People are people everywhere. There's good and there's bad. And generally what I find is that if you're nice to people, they will be nice to you. And there's no difference here to anywhere else. And generally, what you'll find once you've been here a long time, people say, oh, you're Russian now. That's the first thing, oh, you're Russian now. And of course, the eternal question, which do you like better, England or Russia? And you've got to say, oh, I love Russia the best. And that's it. You're best friends then.
I'll be honest, that's, if I meet somebody down here in the south, if I meet somebody new, a Russian, usually the first question they'll ask me is, oh, you're English. Oh, what do you think of Russia? I get very much a real sense that certainly the Russians that I am in an area with have I'd say a deep level of loving and respect for the country, without trying to sound too cheesy or too cliche. But you can tell that, when the first question is, oh, what do you think of Russia? Not, what's England like, or why did you leave England, or anything else. The first question is, what do you think of Russia? You can tell there's a pride there. And that's, that's something that I've noticed. And it's very heartwarming. It's very pleasant.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here a long time, and maybe as an expat, because I work the type of work I do, I meet a lot of people. I meet a lot of clients nearly every day or every other day. I'm meeting somebody new, and inevitably you get that question: which do you prefer, England or Russia? But they always say it with a grin, They always say, which do you prefer? And you're waiting for the answer. Oh, Russia. Great.
You passed. You're okay. What do you like about Russia? What's if I had to pin you down to one thing, what is that one thing that you go, yeah, I love this? Oh, you've frozen with your
Free,
mouth
free,
open, which is, oh, you're back again.
freedom.
Freedom. Okay. Yeah. In
Free,
what regard?
freedom. Um,
Define that.
if I go to the lake here, I can strip down to my knickers and jump in, and nobody's going to come at me with an armband and a security thing, or
You can't
nobody's going
swim
to
in the
touch me.
lake. Look, it says no fishing. Yeah.
Yeah, if I want to go fishing, I'm not going to get collared by somebody looking for a license and a fee.
Yeah.
If I want to build a house, I can build a house. I'm not going to have people breathing down my neck about, oh, you've got to.
High vis and health and safety. Yeah. And hard
Yeah.
hats and all the rest of it. Yeah.
Sometimes you could do with some like health and safety, but
Yeah. But it's a Darwin theory,
freedom.
isn't it? You can tell
Yeah.
who's dropped a brick on their foot because they're wearing shoes rather than flip flops.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I got hit in the face with a hook from the pile machine. Actually,
Okay.
Nearly took my eye out. But I think,
Oh.
where's the health and safety here? But
Yeah,
black eye
but
for a while.
health and safety obviously is all well and good, and that was a huge part of my industry and my job, and to the point that it created so much stress for me, because ultimately, what my position, the buck stopped with me, and it was a horrible place to be, especially
Mm.
when you discover things that aren't correct, and it's a health and safety issue. It's like, oh my god, and then reliant on other people sorting it out, and you're sat there with a target on your back all the time. They're not sorting it out. So for me, that was one of the nightmares and one of the things that I hated about my job, and certainly the UK. And here, it's very refreshing, and some people might be cringing at this, but it is very refreshing not to have that level of scrutiny and stupidity. And I get you have to make rules to protect the innocent, but when you're making rules because of one absolute moron that affects 10,000 people, there really needs to be some common sense where somebody goes, well, no, this don't make sense. Let the moron drop something on his foot and he'll learn.
What I find is that you treat it like an adult here, so a majority of the time, rather than a child, rather than
that's
wrapping
the
cotton
short
wool.
version of what I just babbled on about. Yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
exactly it. Common sense prevails, and you're allowed to make mistakes, and you're treated like an adult, and
yeah,
kids are allowed to be kids, and they're allowed to grow up, and make silly mistakes. There's none of this nanny state protecting everybody and wrapping everyone in cotton wool, which is lovely. It
Well,
means that people grow up with the knocks of life.
what you find here is that people are safe. This Russia is a lot safer than UK. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah,
My
no, I
wife
agree
can
with
go into the city in St. Petersburg and Moscow, and I've not got to worry. I know she's going to come home at 10 o'clock at night, and she's going to travel through the town on her own. She's going to come on the bus on her own. She's going to walk up the road on her own in the dark, and she's going to be absolutely safe. And that can go from a small child to an adult. You're not going to get
No, I agree with that.
costed, every corner. I mean, things happen. It's a fact, There's drunks in every country, but 99% of the time, it's a lot safer.
Yes. Yeah, no, I'll go along with that, definitely. That was one of the things that I noticed when I first came here. And I've said this many times in live streams. I see kids in our village and the next village along hitchhiking. Kids, they're hitchhiking, and it's like that. I mean, when was that? That when I was a kid, that was in the UK, but that died out years ago. That just became something that you can no longer do. It's just impossible in the UK. Kids can't do that, but that's a regular thing here. So that shows, it has to resonate with people that if kids are hitchhiking, then it's got to be safe. It has to be.
Yeah,
Stands
you see
to
kids,
reason.
especially in this little town here. You see a lot of kids on bikes in groups going along around. You think, oh, that's where I used to when I was a kid, And then now, when my sister died, unfortunately, last year, but when she was alive, she wouldn't let her kids out of her sight for 5 minutes, on a bike on the street on the road. They'll get run over or they'll get kidnapped. And whoa, none of that.
Yeah,
Is.
It's not. It reminds me of my childhood being here. I used to go out.
Yeah.
I remember, we as soon as we could get out the front door, We're out the front door, meet our mates, go down the park, and we're there till dusk.
Yeah,
And
you know
it's
when
the
it's
same
time
thing.
somebody was shouting, "Yeah, get your ass back in here."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Or you'd be getting home at dark and knowing you're in for a bit, a bit of a telling off. And that's what it reminds me of here.
Yeah,
It's harking back to those days where common sense prevailed and also the place was safe. That's not the
yeah.
UK anymore, definitely.
I mean,
But anyhow,
I haven't been there. I haven't been there for a while, but from what I've
well,
seen, I can only see what I've
yeah,
seen from the news, But
I was back there a couple of months ago, and yeah, I can't say that it's got worse since last year, but it certainly hasn't got any better. But anyhow, we're not here to bash the UK, but we'll certainly point out the differences if we see them. See, we know what you do like, which is the freedom. What don't you like? Put you on the spot now.
what don't I like?
Yeah, one thing that
What
you
don't I like?
just don't like about Russia. It really drives you mad.
Salah,
Oh, what? Salad?
Salah, Salah.
What's
Uh,
salad?
lard,
He's a
lard eat
footballer, isn't he?
lard, lard. It's lard eating lard, conserved lard. Salah.
Oh,
You
I
don't know
haven't been
Salah?
anywhere near that.
Ask your wife for Salah.
No, no chance. You've just described it to me, and I know I need to avoid it.
It's like you can imagine solidified dripping from years ago.
Oh, yuck.
God, I'll never understand it.
Yeah, no. Moving swiftly on. Good grief. Um, what's your if somebody came to your channel as a new subscriber, they've just stumbled across your channel or they've watched this live stream and thought they're going to go and subscribe to it, what one video would you send them to first?
It would depend on what they're wanting to achieve. If they're somebody who's coming to Russia without with a family unit and they've got no idea, then go to the beginning of the series. What you need to do before you buy a property in Russia. Look at that. I would start there and look at your channel as well and other channels where people are just showing what life is like. Get an idea for where you're coming to. Russia is not the UK and it's not America. It is different.
No.
There are differences and it's not the same. Bureaucracy is very different.
Yeah.
If you've ever had to, unfortunately had to deal with it, I have. There's all kinds of things you have to do. People forget that when you're in the UK, if you're born and bred in the UK, you grow up with the system. You understand that when you get to 12 years old, you're going to get a stab in the arm for your inoculations. You know how the school system works. You know that when you get to 16, you're going to get an employment number, what do you call it, national insurance number.
National insurance. Yeah.
You understand that system, how it works. You know how to get married. In Russia, you're doing it very differently. So if you've not got, if you've got a Russian partner, that is an angel.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife has led me by the nose through every hurdle. Absolute
same.
angel.
Yeah.
I couldn't praise her anymore for what she done.
No,
really.
Different. I do think that people coming to Russia, they need to be coming here for the right reasons, not just to escape something. Because if you're just trying to escape something, whether it's debt or a particular political agenda, or you don't like the schools, or there's something that you're leaving for, then you're not going to be looking into Russia in the right way. You're just coming to get away. So you're leaving stuff behind. You're not looking forward. You're looking in the rearview mirror, if that makes sense. And I think a lot of people will get caught out with that. You need to be coming here for the right reasons.
You need to remember that where you are, the same liberal values that are in the West are not always here.
No.
Some, we don't. People think Russia is racist, and it's not. It's a multicultural society. I'm going to leave England because we've got all these immigrants. Well, guess what? There's 152 odd languages spoken in Russia, and 152 different nations, different nationalities of people. I think it's 152. There's 1.4 months. What was it? 140 million people, and different ethnicities and languages and religions, and Also,
Yeah.
it's a real multinational place. It's not. If you're coming to escape that, you've gone to the wrong place.
Yeah.
If you've come
But
to,
I
if you've
think
come,
even taking that on board, I think Russia is Russian. It is for Russians. Hence, you're expected to learn the language. You're expected to fit into the society. It's not, from what I've seen, lots and lots of pockets of segregation. Everybody seems to live side by side and get on.
what you've got is a multicultural society under one umbrella, Russian.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
can have your own identity. I'm an expat or immigrant British, but I'm under that Russian umbrella now. We're part of that. The Russian family is not. It's not one nation. It's not one nation. It's not one group of people. It's a whole group of people joined together under this one umbrella.
Yeah.
And it's a marvelous thing. It's something that we have not done anywhere else in other countries.
No.
If in England, you've got areas where there's certain migrant groups and they seem to band together. We're here, they're spread out throughout everywhere, and it's quite refreshing to go to a place to a town and you see somebody from this culture or that culture, and everyone's getting along together. It's something unique here that's not you don't see everywhere.
Yeah.
It's
No.
really refreshing.
And I've it's one of again, a thing that I say to people: don't come to Russia with your Western ways. If if all you know is the UK and you're not going to come here with an open mind, you're going to struggle. You're going to find it's going to bite you. You've got to come here, I think, with an open mind, and you've got to come here leaving the Western values behind and understanding that you're coming to a different country. The trouble with Brits, and I was certainly guilty of this, and I think it's very obvious, is that the world has accommodated us. We have grown up in a world. I'm going back to when I was 4 and I was going to Spain, on holiday and going to Benidorm, and it didn't exist. And back then, my dad would get a book and learn Spanish. Nowadays, we go to Spain and we expect them to speak English. And that's the trouble. The Brits have spread throughout the world, and the world has tried to accommodate the Brits because of the money. They want to get them there. They want the tourism. They want the money. So they're accommodating them by speaking the language. Consequently, we just expect it. And I think a lot of people come to Russia with the Western understanding and the Western, mentality that because they're English, then they're owed something, with some sort of chip on their shoulder. And if you come here with that attitude, you're not going to last 5 minutes. You're going to get bitten. And I think it's important that people understand that and remember that it's a different country. This isn't Spain. This isn't, English pub down the corner and everybody speaking English. It isn't like that.
Well, what I always have to remind myself is although I'm a citizen, I'm a guest here, and I have to
It's a privilege, not a
fit
right.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'm a citizen. Okay, I'm safe, but I'm not. I can have that taken away from me very, very easily.
Yeah.
That citizenship can be taken away. You don't have to do much to lose it. A few run-ins with the law, and you can find yourself back in the UK again. So it's
well, as I say, it's a
again,
privilege. It's a privilege, not a right. And I think a lot of Brits come here with the attitude that I'm English, therefore you should be accommodating me because I'm English, and that's, unfortunately, that's the society that we've grown up in. And that's what's been drummed into people, to a degree, and I think they just carry that without actually thinking about it. Which is funny, because if they went to Saudi or somewhere, they probably think a lot differently, mainly because of the horror stories, that you see on the internet. Or if you go there and you muck about, then bad things happen. But they don't seem to understand that with Russia. They just seem to come to Russia thinking that they can behave in the same way that they would do at home, and it's just not gonna cut it.
I mean, it is a classic example. If you get stopped by the police in your car in the UK and you give them a lot of lip, you're probably going to get told off for it. If you come to Russia and give the police officer a load of lip from your car, you're probably going to get dragged out of your car. That's the slight differences.
Yeah. Yeah,
Respect
there's
for authority.
yeah, exactly. Respect for authority and zero tolerance for idiots. You know, as Mike Tyson said, everybody's brave until they get a punch on the nose, and I think certainly Russia will be a country that levels people to that degree. And I'm not saying that you come here, you're going to get beaten up, but if you bring your Western ways here and come with some air of arrogance, or that with an opinion that you're owed something, then you're going to come down to earth with a bump.
I tend to deal with authorities with a smile as much as I can. A smile helps a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I've been stopped now 6 times by the police. I got stopped the other day again. Just routine check, but every time it's like, oh no, I haven't done anything wrong. I'm all legal, but every time it's like, oh, it's the police. But every time they're lovely. They're just extremely polite. This time the guy leaned into the window and I just said, I'm really sorry. I'm English. I don't speak Russian. In my terrible Russian. And he just looked at me and smiled and said, license. So I gave him my license and he just looked at it, looked at both sides, gave it back to me and went, Do svidaniya. That was it.
Yeah.
So, I've always been treated fairly. I've always been treated very well by the police here.
Yeah, I mean, police are aware of bad people, and they know what they're looking for. And when somebody turns up, they know. They'll take one look at you and they know if you're a bad one or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Right, let me just get to some comments now. We've got a few people. Kusman, yeah, you're a terrible person, Kusman. I'm shamed. Sailor, hi. Aussie Spy. Oh, we've got the Aussie Spy in the house. Look, he's bashing away at his people. Yeah. The problem with his middle name being translated as a patronymic, whatever the hell that is.
Basically, patronymic is the name that you're assigned at birth. It derives from your father. So whatever your father's name, you take that as your middle name.
Look at you two guys. Yeah, I'm thick. Sorry.
I've been here a long time.
So Aussie Spy, I work at a translation bureau and the customers often just throw a paper at you, and when you're done they start screaming. That's not how my name is spelt on my passport. Okay. Matt, Alfords, Old Fords. Blimey a stream. Yeah, you're right, Matt. Blimey a stream. Hope you're keeping well, mate. Middle names in Russia make up together as given names. Yes, so that's something like people say, or I've been asked, why is Vladimir Putin called VVP? And it's because he's Vladimirovich Putin. I think that's correct, isn't it?
Because his father would have been called Vladimir as well, so he's taken Vladimirovich.
Yes. Yeah.
It derived from his father's name.
Yep. Kusman, Salo is the best thing in Russian. No, it's not. Come on, Kusman. That just sounds wrong. Country gal, hello from Wisconsin. Blimey. Must be cracking on a bit over there, mustn't it, surely?
Hello, Wisconsin.
Sailor, what do you think of Starmer? I'll let you answer that one, mate. What do you think of Starmer?
Starmer? I've never met him, but I'm sure he's a nice guy in his own way. I don't know. I'm not political.
No, we'll move on with that. No. Country girl, that's the way it should be. I'm guessing that relates to a comment. And Linda Ortiz says hi. Good. We've caught up with everybody. Hi, everyone. So you said that your work is involving piles. Now, I know you're not a doctor, so do you want to explain that?
A pile is if you can imagine a house on stilts, the stilts that you put in the ground. That's the kind of way. A pile is okay. So if you see a house on beams, that's what you're looking at.
So are you putting in concrete piles into the ground, or you the metal? Because you get screw ones out here as well, where they screw them into the ground. I know that because we've had one put when our land was extended. They came out and screwed a metal one into the ground to mark the edge of the territory.
No, I beat in железный beton, metal concrete, reinforced concrete piles. There you go.
Okay. So you pulled a
Reinforced
face
concrete.
when I said about the screw ones. You're not a fan of those? The metal screw?
Uh, uh, I'm not. I'm, I was going to say something wrong then, but I won't. About screws. Screw piles are cheap and they don't last long. And if you're depending on the region that you're in, I'm not an expert on very cold regions because I don't live in a very cold region. Minus 38 is the maximum we've had, and it's a rarity. But even at minus 17, these things can move around. They can come up out of the ground again.
Wow.
And they do move around. And what you find is, I did a big explanation in this in one of the videos about these piles. Actually, what you do, they join them all together in a big piece of metal called a shriller, and they have to do that to stabilize them because they move around. They're not stable. Right. So what they do is they put them in and then they pour concrete into them as well, because the metal eventually rusts away. Is in the ground. With the type of piles that I put in, concrete, gelazny, they don't do anything. They just stay there. That's it. They're permanent.
Okay. So if somebody's looking to do the job properly, then sticking concrete piles, not these quick screw fit. But then I suppose it depends what you're building on it. If you're just building a summer house in your garden, then maybe the screw piles are quick and easy.
Yeah, I mean, if I was putting a shed up, they'd do the job,
Yeah.
So, but for a full house, people do build houses on them, but it's not my recommendation.
Fair enough. So, right. Oh, you're going to love this one. Tell us something we don't know about you, or a secret, or an untold secret.
Untold secret.
An untold secret, or something we don't know.
I'm a Marmite lover.
I've got just the thing for you.
You haven't got Marmite. No way. Oh my God! Where did you get that?
This is a special one for you. Look at that.
Oh my God!
Can you see that?
I'd love to get my hands on that. I would love to get my hands on it. Where did you get that?
That came from the UK, and if you look at it closely, you can see that is a rainbow limited edition Elton John limited edition Marmite. I kid you not.
Oh my! That is an LGBT Marmite.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, Elton John limited edition LGBT Marmite.
Suddenly gone off Marmite.
I mean, the contents are still good, but yeah, I was a bit worried about bringing it back. To be honest, I thought I might get stopped at the border because it's classed as an extremist organisation over here, isn't it? Which is, I think, the correct thing.
Well, no, I mean, you can be, if you want to be homosexual, you can. There's nobody going to come and stop you.
Yeah, but the LGBT is actually classed as an extremist organisation. It's listed by the government as an extremist organisation.
I know that you can't propagandise it. You can't advertise it. Basically, as it should be, what you do in your bedroom is your business.
Yeah, that's right. Behind closed doors, but yeah, you're not marching down the street wearing a thong.
Yeah. Keep it in your own bedroom. We don't want to see it.
Yeah. What do you miss from the UK? Obviously, you haven't been
Marmite.
there for a while. But... oh, I don't know how to break this to you, but not only have I got this one, but I've got another new one in the drawer as well.
I hate you. Okay, you can't actually get it now. I've seen it on Ozone, but it's like bloody 2,000 rubles a jar or something stupid, 5,000, 50 quid a jar or something. Jesus Christ.
But then it's so strong, you only need a little bit. I mean, obviously I've got loads of it, so I can just sort of be liberal with it. But you can almost smell it, can't you? Look.
Yes, stuffed.
Oh, wow. Best advice for anyone moving to Russia?
Advice?
Yeah, what's your best advice for anyone moving to Russia? What would be, not just the language or whatever, but one morsel that will be useful to people.
or morsel. Do your damn research properly. Do it properly. Research where you're going to live, what region you're going to go to. Start learning your language way, 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 way before you ever come here. It's too late once you're here. You're not going to immerse yourself and learn it overnight. It takes a long time.
Yeah.
Do your research. Do a thorough research. Don't take cut corners. You know, there's people, not just me. There's other people done videos, other YouTube videos. They've told you about it. There's multiple Telegram channels telling you this information. Don't ignore it. It really, really. You know, the way I did it was differently. You know, I did a very slow immigration process for a number of years. So I've got, you know, the perfect helper, you know, my wife. You know, so if I don't do something right, you know, she gives me a whack around the back head. You know, get it done this way. So, you know,
no, it's true. People have to research, and you know, I tell people all the time, and they say to me, "Oh, I'm going to get a job, and I'm going to do this," and I just say, before you even get anywhere near to that, what climate do you want to live in? And they, you know, sometimes, what difference does that make? It'll make a big difference in the winter and the summer, I can assure you. So you need to work out what climate you want to live in, because jobs aren't hard to find in Russia, but the climate
jobs are
is
easy to
something.
find.
Yeah, the climate is something that doesn't change. So you need to get that right first. And people think I'm mad, but it's like, no, you need to research. You can't just, so many people are just rocking up here. And I'm going to say this, and it might upset a few people, and I'm sorry if it does, but the vast majority, without a shadow of a doubt, the vast majority are people coming from the US, and they are just rocking up with no real clue other than what they've been told by maybe YouTube or by some religious figure or something, and they're just turning up for Russia for the first time, and they are just absolutely losing the shirt off their back, making terrible decisions, terrible mistakes. They're dragging their kids halfway across the world. And I despair. I just look at them and think, what on earth are you doing? You know nothing about the country other than what you've, you know, been told. You haven't lived here, you haven't visited. And I just despair, and it happens so much. And like I say, the vast majority seem to be from the US. And you know, if you're watching from the US, don't do it. It's gonna bite you. You're gonna come unstuck. Just make sure you do some research, as Glyn has said. Research. It costs you nothing to research before you get here, but it's going to cost you an arm and a leg if you get it wrong.
There's a big misconception I find from some people is that Russia is some kind of super religious country, and it is not.
No,
it is not.
No.
Well,
and again, a lot of people sort of, I think, use that as as some kind of leverage. You know, they think that that's going to buy them credits by announcing that they're, an Orthodox Christian family or whatever, and it doesn't. It doesn't. You know, it doesn't make any difference. You know, people in Russia care about how you treat them. They're not interested in in your religious backgrounds per se.
There's something that I've lost my train of thought now. What was I going to say about religion is that so religion is not integrated with the state as it is in the UK. You can't get married in a church legally here. You have to go to a registry office. You can get a church ceremony, but it's going to be a ceremony, a blessing, if you like.
The actual legal part has to be done at the administration centre, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's the state and religion are separate. You got to remember, in Russia, it's a multi-religious country. We have paganism, we have Judaism, we have Muslims, we have Hindus, we have in St. Petersburg. There's even what do they call the ones there? The monks in orange. What do they call those guys? I've forgotten now. Oh, they have big bells and they.
Hare Krishna.
No, not Hare Krishna. There's them as well. There's another one. The Tibetan monk guys. What do you call them?
Okay. Yeah.
There's a massive place here in St. Petersburg, and they got the big prayer wheels. It's a great place to visit and see actually the culture.
Buddhists, is it? But the Buddhist monks.
Buddhists, that's the ones. Yeah. there's a big buddy centre here, and
Wow.
it's a great. You can go there. They've even got a cafe in there. You can go and see, which is interesting.
Only in Russia, maybe.
Only in Russia, yeah. So it's interesting to see a big mix of cultures like
that. I probably know the answer to this, but I'll ask anyway. What do you do for fun? What have you got? What are your hobbies? What are your interests? Or is it a case that you're either working or building your house, and hobbies and interests are something you're going to plan for retirement?
Well, no, I've got lots of interests. But I'm a nerd. I'm a closet nerd. I like electronics, and I've got a separate YouTube channel actually for electronics.
Okay, well, go on, give us a plug this year.
It's been a long time. I haven't uploaded anything for 4 years, in fact. So it's and I can't remember. I think it's Stash of Life that was the name. But that's my thing. I like to play with electrics. In fact, it's a great thing to do because I fix things for neighbours and things. People fetch me things and TVs and stuff, and it's a great way of meeting people.
You like get involved at component level, do you? Down on the PCB boards.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I do. I'm not an expert, but I'm a dabbler.
Okay.
And you're surprised because in Russia, a lot of people fix things rather than throw things out.
Yes.
And they'll always come and say, "Can you fix this?"
Yeah.
And I have a look and say, "Oh, yeah, maybe. This is like 100 years old. This thing."
Yeah.
But,
one of my friends, we bought a cheap hose pipe. Very cheap, expanding hose pipe. Just to water a certain area of the garden. And it didn't last long. It was a cheap one. It was about £4. What do you expect? And the end popped off of it. And I just thought I'd just buy a new one. And my friend came round and I don't know how, but we got onto that subject. And I said, I'm going to throw it away. And I've learned if I throw something away, he'll turn around and say, why have you thrown that away? I'll repair that. And I'm like, okay. So I didn't throw it away. And I said, oh, do you want this? Because I'm going to throw it away. And he straight away said, why? And I said, well, the end's come off. And he just took it apart. And it reminded me of what my dad used to teach me when I was a kid, where he used to make fishing rods out of old tank aerials. This is how old my dad was. After the war, he'd get tank aerials, he'd make fly fishing rods, and he would whip like the eyes onto the tank aerials, and he'd whip, tying flies on the hooks and the way he do it. And that's exactly what he did. And it all came flooding back when he did it. And he just, literally whipped it through and made a loop and pulled it through and just secured it back on. And I was like, oh yeah. And he said, yeah, it's good as new now. And yeah, that's a typical thing I think I've found in Russia, that people just repair stuff. It's not a throwaway society.
Not as much. It's getting that way, especially with the influx of Chinese stuff coming in. It is unrepairable. But anything of quality, it's repaired. I mean, for us, in my industry, forever breaking electric tools, forever, and they're all repaired at some point.
Well, the reason I've got the grinder I've got is because my friend picked the one and said, "Get this one because you can get all the parts for it." And I'm like, "Parts? Well, you just throw it away and get a new one, don't you?" And he's like, "No, if you need a new motor, you need a new spindle, you need this, you need that, you can just get all the parts for it." Which is what the UK used to be. You used to have hardware stores where you go and get these bits, but it was many years ago. That's gone. There is none of that anymore.
There used to be electric repair shops. You could go down and take your TV, and they'd fix it for you and whatever. I don't know if that still exists nowadays. But
it's very, very rare. Maybe on very high end stuff. I know a friend of mine he was a big second-hand Bang & Olufsen dealer. I think the largest one in the UK. And he can still get Bang & Olufsen TVs repaired. But you're talking very, very expensive stuff. And even now he's saying that a lot of that stuff now is not repairable anymore. It's just a throwaway society. Right, back to some questions. Thought the Elton John would bring them all out. Chris, what's your father's name, please, if I may? Oh, maybe another time. Chris, you're late to the party. Yes. Matt, you've just okay. You saw the Marmite. Yeah, that's pretty much what I said. But it was given to me as a gift. But completely by accident. The person that gave it to me does home shopping, so she ordered it from Tesco's, and that's how it arrived. So I'm only interested in the contents, but yeah, it's challenging, Matt. I must admit. I still have my last empty bottle that I kept sniffing. So Matt's a Marmite, avid Marmite man as well. Chris Malcolmson, visit, learn, plan. Perfect.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Visit, learn, plan. Absolutely. Oh, and drink vodka. Well, yeah. But that's a bit of a cliche, I think. Although I'm drinking vodka, so you know. Aussie Spy, honour the culture and learn to integrate and respect the host country. Yeah. Yeah. And learn and Crispin and learn to ride a bear. Good grief. Ford WRC, nice to see you. Buddhist, yeah, see
Have you got bears?
us.
Have you got bears down there in Crimea? In where you are?
Well, my wife calls me bear, so I don't know. Does that count?
No, I don't count. You
No.
haven't got fur. We've got them here. It's about a kilometre. I can take you to bears.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no, we haven't. Oh, well, I haven't seen any bears yet.
We've got.
I've got an ever expanding bloody cat domain. We've got 5 genuine, proper living cats, and we seem to have gained. Well, I think it's 3 more now that just seem to have turned up in the garden. It's like Jesus Christ.
We've got this little Novgorod is pretty much famous for wildlife. We've got bears and we have snakes and we have wolves. A lot of wolves here.
Yeah, we've got coyotes and we've got snakes.
You got coyotes. You got
we've got coyotes down here. Yeah,
I have not seen them. We've got wolves.
Or are they jackals? Jackals or coyotes? I'm not sure. They look the same to me, I think.
You got hot weather down there. You'd get more snakes, wouldn't you? You get the old
So my cat had a snake in the garden the other week.
God.
Yeah.
The dread thing. First time I come.
Oh, I love snakes. I'm fine with them, but I don't know whether it's poisonous or not, so I chopped its head off.
Oh my God.
just to make sure I had its head off with the spade.
No.
Thanks, Ozzy. Not only learn to ride, but do it shirtless. Where are you based in Russia, Glyn? So, Richard. Good evening, Richard. Nice to see you, or see of you. So, Richard actually is. He comes to a Napa. Now, I met Richard and his wife, Svetlana. And he's actually got a business selling Russian goods in the UK.
Oh, cool.
So I won't shout it out, Richard, unless you tell me it's okay to do so. But yeah, he's got an online business, and I think he's got 3 locations as well. So I'll let him come in the chat and say it's okay, and then I'll shout it out. I'm only interested in contents, but that's what they always say. Chrisman, you're a wrong one. By Velky Novgorod. Ah, yes. So Ford has told Richard where you are. Velky Novgorod.
Velky Novgorod.
Yeah.
Well, close to it. I'm not part of it. I'm part of Staroruski Rayon, but it's close to it.
Of course you are. I've no idea what you just said, but it sounded good. The home of Rurik, the Norse pagan Viking. Apparently. Ford, that's where you are. Rurik, the Norse pagan Viking.
Well, here in Novgorod, where I am, was where the first Vikings from Russia came from. It was the Ilmen Vikings. So very, very ancient cities or town where I'm at. Very, very, very. So this is one
around with thorns growing out their heads and stuff, are they?
Yeah. There's actually there's a bit of a joke here. This town, it's in the museum now. They found one of the first written words were written on birk bark, and they discovered some here some years ago. And the first ones they dug out, and once they deciphered it, they found it was a blinking swear word. So it's in the museum in Novgorod. That was always a bit of a joke, yeah.
Perfect.
I
think we've covered everything, haven't we?
I think so, yeah.
I think, well, certainly we've covered everything I wanted to. We've caught up with the chat, which is always a good one.
I
Richard
can't see
hasn't
the
come
chat.
back to this. You can't see the chat. Oh well, I've got two phones, see, so I'm double stacked. Yeah. Oh, Chris is in scorching hot Crimea. Yeah, it's lovely, mate, isn't it? We love it down here. Love the weather.
Oh no,
Can't be doing with
we're
that.
cool up here. We're
Can't be doing
23
with
at
all
the
that
moment.
rain and
Just
stuff.
no, 23 is nice.
Oh no, that's cold. That's winter. What are you on about? Ooh.
Winter is
Wait, it's 32 degrees in my pool.
32 degrees in the pool.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah,
pool.
it's like a hot tub. Lovely. What's your future plans for the channel? How do you want it to grow? What's have you got anything lined up? Anything coming up with it?
Well, we're going to continue on with the build, obviously, and once the build's done, then I have some other plans. There's some other projects here that I want to do. Very close to me is a big lake, 300 meters lake. It's 100 meters from where I am sitting, and we're going to get that all cleaned out eventually and get that made nice because it's been abandoned. Nobody uses it anymore. So that's one of the projects we want to get involved in. And there's some other projects in and around the town I want to get involved in as well. There's one of the very oldest churches in Russia here that needs restoration work doing to it. I'm not religious, by the way, but I want to help in with that there in some way.
Oh, mate,
so
that's
there's
awesome.
lots of things. And there's also, in fact, up here, there's an electronic repair place where they take old electrics, repair them, and give them out to poor people.
Oh,
And
you're in your element in there then.
Yeah, that's something I really want to get involved in. It's not too far from here, so.
Oh, blimey.
That's it.
Yeah. No, well, that's good. That's good. So anything, obviously you're carrying on with the build, but is there anything that's coming up on the channel specifically? Or is it just you're back there at the moment and you've gone back there today? So what are we going to see? What's your next video? What are we going to see?
Next we'll probably be working on power foundations back in St. Petersburg. The reason I'm here now at the moment is because of Russian bureaucracy. They told us that we had to get up here super fast because I had to close the shot, close the like when you get free timber, they close the account at the end of it when you've harvested the timber and it's all been cut and all that, and you have to close the account. And we have to come up here and close the account, and then on the bus up here, they rang and said, "No, you don't need to come up here. We can do it all on the internet." And so on. Okay, so I'm probably going to go back to St. Petersburg either tomorrow or the day after.
You're going to have to elaborate on that because you've just sort of thrown that out and spun past it. And I'm sure some of the people are going, "Sorry, did you say free timber?"
Yes, free timber.
Do you want to elaborate on that then? What do you mean free timber? What, have you stolen it? Or what, just gone into the forest and chopped some trees down? What?
No, what happens is every Russian citizen, every citizen within Russia is allowed to harvest timber for personal use, and they're allocated 150 cubic meters of free timber, which they can collect from the state. You actually have to cut it down yourself. They allocate you a piece of forest. You then cut that forest down. You can then collect it, send it to a timber yard, get it cut into boards or whatever you want it cut into, and then use that to build your house. 150 cubic meters is the average house. Your average frame house uses under 50 cubic meters, so you've got enough for 3 houses really.
Wow,
it's an enormous amount of wood. It works out. To give you an example, 1 cubic meter times 3 in the timber sawmill would cost you 20,000 rubles at the current prices now, or 2022 maybe in summertime. If you do it yourself like I've done, it costs you 3,700 rubles. That's the difference.
And what's the cost for? If it's just free, where's the cost coming in?
So it's free, but you've got to cut it. So I'm not going to go in 5 kilometers into the forest and cut a blinking tree down. So you're paying for the cutting, paying for the transport to the timber yard, paying the timber yard to cut it up, paying for the timber yard to bring it to your land. So basically.
So is this all across Russia, or is it one area in Siberia that everybody has to travel to?
No, everywhere. Every region has it.
Okay.
Some region. Not where I am. We're surrounded by forest. So for us, it's very quick. It took 3 days to get it to get allocated. In fact, it was the same day it got allocated, and it took 3 days to get it sorted out. In other regions, it can take 18 months, depending where it is.
Right.
But I can't say. But it's Russian Federation Law number 30. If anybody's going to go down, you get it from the MFT.
I'm going to make a note of that because
there's actually a video. There's a video on it, and I will release that at some point.
That's something that you need to be doing and getting up, because that is interesting. Certainly, if people are looking to build, getting to build your house, and the materials are obviously 10 times cheaper than they would be, then that's going to be interesting.
For me, I estimated 450,000 rubles on timber alone. That's the kind of saving up. Yeah, quite a big chunk of money.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Then if you build yourself,
timber framing houses or timber framed houses is very popular here as well, isn't it? I see it an awful lot.
It's cheap.
Yeah,
it's cheap.
Yeah, and it depends on the climate, I suppose, whether it's viable.
Yeah, I mean, what the thing to do is to get your plans drawn up by an architect. You see people and they say to the builders, "I want this," and without a proper plan, and then they wonder why it's cold. You've got to get it done by a proper architect. You can't get these things just thrown up. Get it done properly.
Is that what you've done? You're following architect's plans, or you're winging it yourself?
No. I got a picture of what I wanted, and I gave that to the architect. I said, "Right, that's what I want," and he drew up proper plans of that house. And so I've got a full plan that I have to follow and follow it down to literally to the millimeter, which is done here in Russia. Buildings are done by the millimeter, not by the inch.
Not by the inch, yeah. So I'm just eating a bit of a Napa peach, and if you haven't had a Napa peaches, you haven't lived, because they are the best things I've ever eaten. They're wonderful.
Do they grow locally?
They're in my back garden.
I hate you.
I know. They honestly, Glyn, these are just something else. They really are. They just,
good God.
They just melt down your hand. You can literally suck them. You don't need to bite them.
God Almighty. We have here. What have we got through here? We've got apples, and we've got Izhevika and Kalina.
Yeah, we've got cherries, plums, apricots, and peaches, and then I'm surrounded by watermelons and tomatoes and everything. We're an agricultural region and a wine region, so everything just grows here. Literally everything. You put a stick in the ground and it grows. So, right, I think we need to be wrapping it up, mate. It's been a great stream. It's been nice to talk to you and find out a bit more about you. Obviously, we know each other anyway. We converse quite a bit, but I think it's been nice to be able to pull you onto a live stream and get your channel introduced, and people need to subscribe to it. And I've got a ticker going across the bottom of the screen that says subscribe to A Home in Mother Russia. If you go onto YouTube and just type in @Home in Mother Russia, then it will come up. And I really recommend people, if you're looking to, even if you're just interested in somebody building a house from scratch and how they're doing it, and let's face it, if you're a bloke, we're interested in that kind of stuff. Anybody building something, we'll watch it.
I like to show that the tools now that are available, because when I first built my first house here, things like nail guns weren't available in Russia. You just didn't have them. And now we've got all this stuff. Everything. The progress, I'd say, in the last 15 years, the progress in Russia is absolutely amazing. It has really gone from not being able to get stuff to now you can get anything. It's quite amazing, the difference in the technological advances. It's unbelievable.
Chris Malcolmson is on Crimea, and he said timber is very expensive in Crimea, and he's not heard of anyone getting it for free. So just again, what is that? The Russian Federation Law number 30, and that's all Russian citizens can get wood.
Russian law number 30, or Russian federal law number 30. Go to your MFT, your multifunctional centre, and ask there about federal. Every multifunctional centre has that law. You must be a citizen, or your wife must be a citizen. There's certain things you have to have. You have to own land. You have to have permission to build there. Once you've got that, you can get that timber. It's maybe a long way from where you're at if there's not got any timber down there. It may take a long time to get it. Yeah. And you've got to look at it and say, is this worth doing? Is it worth doing? I mean, mine is 60 kilometers away. The forest where I got mine, 60 kilometers is nothing. It cost me 17,000 rubles to get it moved down to the timber yard here, and then 4,000 rubles to get it delivered to the land. And the price. So for me, it's worth it, but I can't say it's worth it for everybody if it's a very, very long way away.
Yeah, I suppose everybody's got to check that out. Can you draw against that 150 cubic meters 2 or 3 times, or is it a case that once you've drawn against it, whatever you need, that's it, you're done? Or is there always 150 cubic meters waiting for you?
You get that once per your lifetime. 150 cubic meters. There is a nuance for that, is that you're not allowed to sell it, and they come and check and take photographs and see what you're building. I only took 50 cubic meters, by the way. If you take 150 meters,
so can you go back next year and get the other 100, or are you done? You've taken it once, that's it.
No, you can go back later, but you've got to show what you're going to do with it. You're not going to give it just so you can sell it on. People, this happened before where people have got 150 cubic meters. You work out the price of that if you're selling it at 20,000 rubles. You got 150 of it. It's a serious amount of money. So people did cheat and sell it, and now they come around and they take a photo and just check what you're at. So if you're going to do it, only take the amount that you're going to need, because otherwise you're going to end up with a massive amount. And 150 cubic meters is a massive amount of timber to be stacked up on your land in the way of everything.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
So that's where the architect comes in handy, doesn't it, to make sure you get the right amount. Yeah,
correct. Yeah. Don't do that.
Have you sort of over-egged it a little bit on your project just to make sure you've got enough? And if you've got a bit extra, you're just going to build an extension on your deck, for example, or have you got it literally down to the plank?
We're a bit under, in fact. We're a little bit under. We've got to buy, but there's another way you can. There's another way you can do this in Russia. A cheap way of getting timber. You can buy Krugly timber, round the timber for trees, right? You can buy trees and get it. Depending on what region you're in, you can get it very cheap, and it's about a quarter of the price to buy that and get it cut up yourself. Even that's cheaper than buying
timber from a timber yard. Yeah.
But there is nuances. You're not going to get the first sort. You're going to get knots. You're going to get this. You're going to get that.
Yeah.
It's free timber. What do you want?
Hopefully that's helpful for you, Chris. He says thank you, and he'll look into that. So no problem. Maybe it's not worth it for us because all or most of our timber is brought across from the mainland. Yeah, I mean, maybe on Crimea it's a bit different, but I think given the fact that the road network down this way is being expanded rapidly, they're building a ring road right the way around the Azov, the Sea of Azov, to improve the rail links and the road links and everything. I think you might be surprised, Chris. It's certainly worth looking into anyway. But anyhow, guys, thank you very, very, very much. Glyn, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
I'm glad I've managed to get you under the spotlight, so to speak, shining off your head.
It's been great. I've just had my haircut again.
Good man. And please, guys, get over to Glyn's channel, check it out. Have a look. A Home in Mother Russia. Like I say, even if you're not planning to build a house, it's just interesting. It's bloke stuff, and it's just really interesting because Glyn does show you real detail. And like I say, even if you're not planning to build a house, you'll find it interesting. So get over there and have a look.
But you'll find if you're living in a frame house and you're wondering why you're getting
cold.
Yeah, have a look and you'll understand why. You'll
Yeah.
understand why, and what you can do about it, because anything can be fixed. It's
Yeah, of
Russia.
course.
Anything can be done.
Yeah, yeah. Mainly with expanding foam and string, I've discovered. But yeah, anything can be fixed. Yeah.
Expanding foam is
Nice one,
like
mate.
it's the god stuff in it. It's brilliant. Expanding foam.
Yeah, expanding foam and Marmite. And on that note, I think I'll say good night.
Good night.
Cheers, everyone. See ya.
Good night.